9, getting into day 2, Andrew Mahone, Tricky Jim himself. Congratulations, Andrew. I gotta imagine it feels great. Oh, yeah.
Appreciate that.
Wasn't going for that, but we'll take it.
Well,
yeah.
I was,
it's there.
Maybe a gesture. I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave you hanging is all.
I really appreciate that.
Safety first, Jim.
Safety first. We look out for each other back here.
Sure.
Yeah, man, for sure. So, yeah, Mew VMAX, but I'm looking at this deck list here, and there's definitely something that's sticking out to me a little bit more. We'll talk about the match that we just saw in a moment, but we got to talk about a card that really didn't come out to play in that match. Flying Pikachu VMAX. We've seen players going deep into the tank with the Mew decks. We've seen the Aerodactyls, we've seen the Manaphies, and even today we saw a Dreepy in the Mew VMAX deck. Flying Pikachu, where did this come from? Where did this idea generate, and how's it been for you?
So Mew is just that broken deck.
Yeah.
It's the best deck. It's so good. You draw more cards than anybody. You can completely control the game. You saw the judge, your path. It's like, Lugia even. I feel like it's got a great Lugia matchup. You don't even need Aerodactyl, bro. You just judge them and stuff, and things go off the rails.
Yeah,
crazy.
Sure.
Yeah. That deck barely works. So Mew is just like that consistent deck. It's got a few problems. Drapion, Sky Sealstone, Regigigas. These things can be annoying. And the Lost Box matchup was pretty irredeemable. So I was like deep in the tank trying to brainstorm how to figure out the Lost Box matchup. And I was real deep in the tank because I was trying out that Chandelure. No, I was deeper, bro. There's a Chandelure that turns off your weakness. So I tried that, a 101 from Rebel Clash.
Oh, man.
101 Chandelure with a rare candy. I'll get it out, but it's just not that good of a card.
Yeah.
So that wasn't really worth it. So the next thing on the list, I was telling Jesse, who also played the same 60 and just won his winning in.
Let's go.
I was telling Jesse, I was like, bro, I'm gonna try Flying Peak in the deck, and he was like, no way, man, no way. And I was like, bro, the first person to put Aerodactyl in the Mew deck probably seemed crazy too, You just got to try it. So then Jesse was farming the ladder with it and was like, yeah, it's actually kind of broken. So then I was like, okay, we'll test a few games. JW, Jesse, and I were all testing it out, and the matchup was going good against Lost Box because they only play a couple ropes.
Sure.
They only play one boss, and it's just and with the umbrella, with the parasol, you can kind of just stick them. Eventually they'll have to, and that's the thing, it's not a perfect tech. Mm-hmm. There are ways around it, but when you're judging, when you're pathing, when you're lost zoning things, it's like you're just throwing the kitchen sink at them, and something sticks, whether it's the judge, the path, the flying peak. Again, so in games, I'm 5-1 against Lost Box today.
Jeez.
2-0-1 against Lost Box. 2-0 to Reggie. It was just that's exactly what I wanted the deck to do, and it did it.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. Yeah, really unique to see the Flying Pikachu. I mean, anytime you see a non-Fusion Strike Pokemon in the Mew deck, you got to scratch your head a little bit, but the reasoning is sound, and it obviously worked out pretty well for you so far. I mean, you played a lot of Lost Box, so
I did.
It works out. Yeah, it works out great for you. So congrats on that. I want to ask about this game that we just saw on stream. So Lugia, you said you feel like it's a solid matchup for you.
100-0.
Okay, let's calm down a little bit.
I'll give it 90-10.
No shot. I will play 100 games of Lugia versus you. There's no way I
might win a few.
Not 10. More than 10. Come on now. Well, regardless of whatever percentage you want to throw onto it. Game 1, you go first. You get pretty set up. You're feeling good, and your opponent has to research, and they discard their Pumpkaboo.
Oh yeah,
you noticed that? What's going through your mind?
Look at my chops, bro. Yeah, and not just the Pumpkaboo, there's a lost vacuum in there too.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, this game's over. You know? I mean, you have maybe one out, maybe if you're playing the 2 vacuum in your deck to counter the path. So that just tells me okay, I have complete control over the game. Because I'm gonna turn the abilities off, and then I'm pretty much gonna decide when they come back on. So that, and is why I love the Mew deck so much, is it capitalizes on any sort of inconsistency or weakness in other decks because it is just so consistent, draws so many cards. With 4 Sealstone and Cramomatic, you're just getting what you want out of the deck all the time. And you have the tools to just put your opponent constantly in compromising positions.
Definitely, You, like you said, throw the kitchen sink at them.
Give
them everything and see if they can deal with it.
Yeah.
Game 2, things looked great for you early, but then could have gotten a little sketchy there. You put the path in play, you stop your opponent, they pass, and you're like, all right, cool. Draw for turn, and you see you have nothing.
Well, I knew I had nothing when I put the path out.
Right, of course, yeah. And we even saw you kind of agonize over you I think, Cramomatic away a vacuum to start that turn.
It was
you were really debating even doing that.
Well, because it was a quick ball. So it was
quick ball,
I had a decision to make. I could either quick ball away the vacuum, or I could quick ball away my final Gust card.
Sure.
So it was and I had Palpat in the deck, but do you really want to be down your boss, Arena, and other boss? I was like, yeah, it was a tough call.
Sure.
So maybe the boss, in hindsight, with the way that I drew, maybe the boss was the correct call, but then I wouldn't have even been able to like pounce on the situation because I didn't have the boss, right? So it was like I wouldn't have even been able to gust up and knock out the only look because they're all in the discard pile.
Right.
So it was like that was a decision I made. I was like, I got a lot of other stadium counters in the deck, and not to mention, if they're going to get moving, they have to counter.
Of course.
So
of
then
course.
something that usually happens with the Lugia deck is that, and he didn't have any Archeops in the discard pile yet.
Right.
So he may go for Pumpkaboo to counter it, and then try to get some Archeops in the discard pile, and then whiff. And then I get my abilities back.
And he still didn't.
And then I get to just draw, right? So it's like a win-win. Either I stop you and we both do nothing for a little bit, or, I just make life a little harder for you and you wiggle out of it, but then I get to do what I want.
Yeah, you can see all these tiny little details are like always running through your mind when you're thinking about the game. Like you were obviously thinking through like valuing which card over the other one. And obviously you didn't do much that turn, but your opponent didn't either, so it was totally fine. Your opponent Marnies you.
Many Marnies.
Exactly.
So it's just it's like
reasonable.
You may have to Marnie for it, and then you're going to send me to my next 4 cards, and I play more House of Path than you.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Ends up working out very nicely. You get the 2-0, a pretty swift 2-0 as well, so congratulations to you, Andrew. 6-1-2 coming into day 2. Definitely a lot better than 6-2-1. Those 2 match points make a pretty solid difference. So, yeah, congratulations to you, and we'll be following your journey along tomorrow. Good luck to you, and we're going to take a quick little break and be right. Oh, yeah, and we can't forget my director peeping in my ear. Through the rest of the day, or through this entire day today, we've been having our winners. Since we're here in Tennessee, we're in the South, we're having everyone give us their best yeehaws to send us off. Can you give us? Oh, you're getting ready. I love it.
Here we go.
Let's hear your best yeehaw.
I'm not much of a country boy,
Ohio boy.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of yeehaw.
Acceptable. Well done.
A round of applause.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, we'll take a quick little break, guys, and we'll be right back to close out the show.